In the whole vast universe, there was a powerful warrior, a powerful being who was able to eliminate universes. Even with his simple thoughts, this entity known as Zeno-sama had been the creator of the 18 universes. But in the same way, he had the necessary power to eliminate the universes if he perceived that something was not right. So this warrior was in his palace accompanied by his guardians and his priest.
Daishinken, I've spent these millions of years very bored, so I'll take a look at each of the 12 universes, and I want to go absolutely alone.
But, my lord, that could be very dangerous. Let us go with you. Zeno-sama would look back to watch them with a very intimidating look.
I said I want to go alone, or do they not understand what I'm telling them?
Understood, my lord. We ask for an apology. Understand, my lord. He asks you to take great care that any misunderstanding can contact us, and we'll get there quickly.
Thanks for your understanding, Daishinken. I'm leaving in that case.
Zeno-sama would begin with his great adventure, observing planets of each of the universes, being surprised by the culture that each of these carried. As in some of these universes, warriors were striving to be more powerful. However, the powerful king of all was fascinated in Universe 7, specifically on a planet named Vegeta, because the warriors of that planet, most days they maintained battles to be able to become much more powerful.
Wow, this is amazing! I didn't think that mortals would be able to make me spend quality time. It's amazing how they fight.
But the king of all would be totally captivated to observe a Saiyan who was preparing dinner for her husband, who was on a mission off the planet. The king of all, Zeno-sama, would not travel any more universes. His favorite pastime this time was only to observe that Saiyan woman, who had stolen his eyes.
I am the mighty king of all. I don't have to be afraid. I have to talk to him, and for that, I will access my combat form, since in this form I look like a child.
The powerful Zeno-sama would begin to access his combat form, so in the entire Universe 7, a high-level energy was able to be felt. But before the Deids of Universe 7 realized, Zeno-sama was able to expel much more power. In that way, to access another dimension of energy, which for all universes was impossible to perceive. So at the moment, Zeno-sama had been able to stop all the energy flow appearing on the side of Gine, which was the only one able to move freely.
A pleasure, Saiyan woman. I would like to know, what is your name?
Gine, a little scared, having not felt the pressure of Zeno-sama, would try to flee, but she was surprised to realize how no warrior on the planet moved.
I have paralyzed time, so that you and I are able to talk without any interruption. Are you not planning to hurt me? Of course not. I wouldn't be able to hurt him, the woman who is able to steal my gaze.
Gine would blush a little, so she would immediately agree to talk to Zeno-sama. So several months had passed in which even Gine began to feel something for the so-called King of the All, until one day both had committed the worst of sins. That's right, a divine being could not get involved with any being of mortal energy, much less the King of the All, Zeno-sama, who had been the one who had dictated that rule. But of that forbidden act, he had conceded his successor. That's right, in Gine's womb, a little boy was starting to form.
Gine, I'm begging you. Please, come to my planet. I'm begging you. You'll never miss anything in my palace. And if you like to visit this universe, you'll be free to do so. No, Zeno, I'm not planning to leave this planet, since this has been my home since I was born. And I'm not interested in my husband getting angry about this child we're about to have. I understand, but just as I've been able to get you into this problem, I'll solve it myself. I'll give him the appearance of the Saiyan named Bardock, which is your partner, so that you won't have any problems. But don't forget that the energy that runs through the body of the little one is divine energy of the highest purity.
That was how Zeno-sama, in pain, would leave again for the Kingdom of the All, in which he had been received by his guardians, who had bent down to receive him but had no response, an act that left them surprised. Did something happen? The mighty Zeno-sama, despite his great power, has never been arrogant. What happened? The great Zeno-sama would enter one of the alternate dimensions that the Kingdom of Everything possessed, in which he would begin to train and destroy everything in his path. For his part, on the planet Vegeta, Bardock had arrived from his mission observing his son who was identical to him, while his power was null. Kakarot in low class. It'll be better to send him to planet Earth, since I've researched and there are no powerful warriors on said planet.
What the hell are you saying? He's just a baby. You can't do something like that.
I'm sure that the damn Frieza is about to destroy us completely. If I'm wrong, I promise I'll go for him, but for the moment, it's the safest. The night Bardock had stolen an army ship in which he was able to send the Saiyan to the planet Earth. Meanwhile, in the atmosphere of the planet, the Emperor of Evil Frieza had concentrated a small part of his energy in a supernova, with which he'd been able to destroy the planet Vegeta, destroying every warrior who was on the planet. For his part, Gine, at the last moment, would communicate telepathically with Zeno-sama.
I am grateful for all the time that you've given me, and for the knowledge. I'm sorry, and I understand if you're angry, but please, save our son who is heading to planet Earth.
The connection at the moment would be cut, so Zeno-sama, upon receiving it, would leave the dimension precipitately, starting to move through all the universes at an amazing speed. So, at the moment of arriving at the planet Vegeta, he would observe everything empty. That's right, where the planet was on this occasion, it was only cosmic dust. Zeno-sama would try to go back in time, but would stop.
No, damn it. Even for me there are rules. If I turn back the time, I'm sure I could get in trouble with the God of Time.
Zeno-sama would remember Gine's last words. So at the moment, with his great perception of energy, he was able to locate his son. So with the dimensional change, he was able to prostrate himself in front of that ship, and with one of his hands stop it without the greatest effort.
I could tell that you possess mortal energy, as well as divine energy, and apparently you have already been given a name, which I intend to respect. You will be the prince of the divine world.
Zeno-sama, with Kakarot in his arms, had headed towards his palace. So when he arrived, all the other beings of the Divine Kingdom were surprised, because they knew nothing of the existence of that child. However, because the Guardians were a creation of Zeno-sama, they were not able to feel the perception of his divine energy, while on his part, Daishinkan was able to realize from the instant he had arrived that that child was the son of the powerful king. My good lord, excuse me, who is that child?
He will live with us from now on, and you should not ask anything about it again. I hope you understand.
We understand, my lord. Zeno-sama would enter the palace, so the Guardians had stayed at the main gate, while at the moment Daishinkan had appeared in front of Zeno-sama. My lord, you and I were created by the same existence. In short, we're brothers, so you can count on me with all confidence, with whom you have had a child.
So you've realized its essence. I feel so guilty, but I'm not able to do anything against this little.
Don't worry, my lord. What we need in this palace is a little fun, and I'm sure that child will grant it to us. This was how the little Kakarot had arrived in the kingdom of the All. However, in a much more powerful and divine palace, a warrior had realized the sin of the king of the All had committed with a mortal.
So the fucking bastard of Zeno has committed such a crime. This time I want to be the one to punish him, since that miserable dwarf has never been to my liking. But I will hope that he will get attached to that child to end his life in front of his eyes.
This was how even among the most powerful beings there were hierarchies. However, returning to the palace of Zeno-sama, raising Kakarot would be a challenge, since none of those present knew about raising a child. But 15 years had quickly passed in which Kakarot would have been able to achieve the status of a god, or rather, from that moment, his physical appearance would no longer change despite the passing of the years.
Father, please let me continue training with Daishinkan. With him, I can use all my power, since you are only capable of destroying things, but you have no combative skills.
The little Zeno-sama only smiled because in all this time, Zeno-sama had returned to his base state. So Kakarot had never been able to realize his father's combat state. Kakarot, today we'll have a new training. Since you've been able to master the Ultra Instinct, and your power's already able to force me to use all my power.
Thanks, Daishinkan, but I want to become much more powerful. I feel that my power has no limit.
Kakarot would also access the Ultra Instinct, with which he would begin a fight against Daishinkan, while the Guardians along with Zeno-sama watched the entire combat. The battle seemed very even. However, despite everything, Daishinkan had been on the battlefield for millions of years. Unlike Kakarot, who was only 15 years old at the time of ending the duel, an incredible power would shake the entire Divine Kingdom. That's right, it was Kaiseki, the warrior who had been able to observe Zeno-sama. "The day of your death has come. You miserable worms, and I, the mighty Kaiseki of the Second Divine Division, will be in charge of eradicating them. Kakarot, get behind me. This warrior is not someone you're capable of facing." But even Daishinkan had been brought down with a single blow, while that warrior was starting to approach towards Zeno-sama. "This is because of your own damn fault, since you have broken the most important rule of the whole divine world possesses. For that reason, I will end your life myself."
It's a pity that the one who'll die will be you, because if the real bosses had found out, they would have sent for me. The fact that you came on your own makes me understand that no one else knows about this.
"That's right, but since the higher-ups would have only put a punishment, but I really want to end your life, and that of all your loved ones." Kakarot at the moment had rushed against the warrior, but with a simple movement he had been repelled, sent flying, causing chaos all over the place.
Damn it! Even Daishinkan wasn't able to do anything against that warrior. I don't want my father to die.
Zeno-sama would immediately begin to access his combat state, with which he had released an incredible power, taking his incredible combat form, which he would leave Kakarot surprised, since the power he released was a bestiality.
You guys better get going, but I need all my power, Guardians. Come back to me.
The Guardians would begin extensions and creating of Zeno-sama had united in the same way, giving an incredible increase to the power of Zeno-sama, while at the moment Daishinkan along with Kakarot had been sent to the planet of Beerus, the most powerful god, while the battle of both warriors of higher divine energy was about to begin. What will happen next? Find out in the next chapter. Well guys, this is all for today's chapter. I hope you liked it and it was to your liking. Now don't forget to leave your powerful like Supreme God level, comment and subscribe. Now without further ado, see you in a new video. Until next time.